I'm going to show you how to use the School Transport Manager app to help you complete the vehicle checks before you take the vehicle out. Before we start the checks, we'll need to enter a few details into the app so it records this specific vehicle check. I'll do that now. Once that's done, you'll be allowed to then continue with the vehicle checks. We'll look for any obvious problems. Is the vehicle leaning to one side? Any obvious signs of any leaks underneath or anything hanging down? And we also need to check that the Section 19 permit is in place and in date. And that's all good. Next, we will get inside the vehicle. We turn the ignition on, but without turning the engine on, and turn the headlights on. We can then put the front and the rear fog lights on. The high beam headlights on, pop on the hazard lights so all the indicators are flashing, and then pop it into reverse gear so we've got the reverse lights showing. Once all the lights are on, we can exit the vehicle, look at the whole front of the bus, all the glass is intact, the bodywork's fine, number plates attached, all the lights are illuminated, including the front fog light, and the bumpers all fine. Check the mud guards and wheel arches, no debris and all properly attached. Tyres all good, no damage to the sidewall, and there's at least 1.6mm of tread, and they're correctly inflated. From there, check the mirrors, all intact, glass is good and clean, indicators illuminated, and then the glass and the bodywork of this part of the bus, the marker lights lit, and as we walk down the bus, just check up and down for any obvious damage. And then at this point, we've now completed the front offside corner of the vehicle, so we need to enter that into the app. I'll do that now. So we can continue with the vehicle checks, the bodywork, the glass, the marker lights, wheel arch, mud guards, no debris, properly attached. Tyre, wall is in good condition, no cuts, no bulges, at least 1.6mm of tread and correctly inflated. Mustn't forget the inner tyre, same thing, tread correctly inflated. The wheels don't appear to be touching and all the wheel nuts are present. Moving on, the glass and the bodywork all in good order, the trim's okay and the marker lights lit. Then we get to the rear offside light cluster, all in good condition, all the bulbs are on. The back doors, again, check for any damage on the glass, the bodywork, the trim, the bumper's all in good condition, and we need to make sure that the doors are not locked when we're carrying passengers. And finally on this side we've got the back door, number plate, and the number plate lights are lit. We then need to go back to our app and enter the details, which I'll do now. Now we've completed one half of the vehicle checks, we're simply going to repeat the process for the near side of the vehicle. We check the light cluster and the bodywork, glass, bodywork and trim, including the marker light. Again, bodywork, glass, bodywork and trim. Wheel arch, mud guard, tyre, no cuts or bulges, tread and correctly inflated. Check the inner tyre for tread, pressure, and that there's a gap between the two wheels. A quick check on the wheel nuts, and then again moving down the bus, bodywork, glass, bodywork, trim, marker light, and at that point we then need to enter those details into the app just as before. Now we've added those details into the app, we can continue with the vehicle checks. So we check bodywork, glass, bodywork, trim, and now on this side of the vehicle we need to check that the emergency exit not only opens from the outside and the step comes out, but we also need to check from the inside. Simply close the door and then open it, and that works fine. Moving on, bodywork, glass, trim, marker light. Also just check the door's not locked. Mirror, indicators working, wheel arch and the mud guards, the tyre for any sidewall damage, the tread depth and pressure. The bodywork, the front corner, the light cluster, everything's working, fog lights on, bumpers in good nick, glass bodywork and front grille, and there we are back to the number plate. So at this point, again, we need to put those details into the app. So the next check I'm going to do is I'm going to get inside the bus, turn all the lights off, and then do a brake light check. We'll turn everything off, so we turn the ignition off, that'll turn most things off. Headlights back to auto and take it out of gear and turn the hazard warning lights off. Now we're ready to do the brake light check. If you're on your own and you can't find anyone to help, then you could check the reflection if you've got a reflective surface like the side of another vehicle perhaps. Ideally, you want a responsible adult to be able to check for you. So to check the brake lights, you will need to turn the ignition on and then simply press the foot brake and ask that colleague, are all the lights working?
All working, Cliff.
Excellent. So now we're going to do the rest of the check. So we need the key with us when we get out of the vehicle. Please be aware that if the bus has been driven before this point, then you must be careful not to touch anything on the engine that might be hot and cause injury. To get into the bonnet, you will need the ignition key. The key goes in the slot, turn it left, then turn it to the right and hold it there and lift. Change hands and the prop goes into the double slot. The brake fluid is here, and if we just give that a shake, we can see the fluid level moving in the tank, and it is between the minimum and maximum marks. We've got the windscreen wash and we can see the fluid levels right up to the top. Then we've got the powered steering fluid, and again it's got a minimum and maximum mark there, that's fine. And we've got the engine coolant, and again that's between the minimum and maximum mark. So finally we need to check the oil level. We simply remove the dipstick, give it a clean, pop it back in, make sure it goes to the bottom, take it out, and we can see that that's got oil in between the minimum and maximum mark. When you place it back in the tube, do make sure the dipstick goes all the way home. If you need to top up the engine oil, then it goes in the filler there. So to drop the bonnet, we'll simply remove the prop, and then if you drop the bonnet from about 8 inches or so and just check it's home, and take the key out. So we've checked the brake lights and we've checked the under the bonnet fluid levels. So now we need to enter those into the app. Finally, there's just a few more checks to do inside the vehicle. The first thing I'm going to do is check the handbrake. So it's firmly applied, but it's not at the top of its travel. So that means it has got more give in it. So yes, there's more play in that. So that's fine. From there, we're going to move to the fire extinguisher, the gauge on the top, the needle must be in the green area. Then we know that's fine. From there, we move to the first aid kit, which I keep up here. This may not be the same in your bus. You need to make yourself aware of where your first aid kit is. It also needs to be fully stocked. Next, we're going to check the warning lights on the instrument panel along with the powered steering. So to do that, put the key in the ignition and turn the ignition on so all the lights come up. Most of them will go out. And now to check the powered steering, we're going to put pressure on the steering wheel and then at the same time start the engine. And you can see immediately the wheel becomes free. And also we can see that all the lights on the dash have gone out except for the parking brake. That's quite normal. Finally, while the engine's running, press the foot brake, make sure it doesn't feel spongy, doesn't fall straight to the floor. That feels fine. So all we need to do now is switch the engine off, remove the key and enter those details into our app, which I'll do now. That's all done, and now we're good to go.